Hi everyone and welcome to the tutorial. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to work a Purl version of the cable cast on method. If you've used the regular version of the cable cast on method before, then you'll be familiar with the steps that this cast on requires. The only difference with what we're doing today is that instead of inserting our right hand needle, knit wires between the stitches on our left hand needle and wrapping the yarn around the needle as if to knit, we're going to insert our right hand needle, purl wires between the stitches on our left hand needle and wrap the yarn around the right hand needle as if to purl. I would most commonly use this technique for bridging a space between two sections of knitted fabric rather than to start a new piece of knitting. For instance, it's a great choice for when working a top-down raglan sweater and you need to cast on stitches to join your front and back pieces together over the space of your sleeve. As I use the cast on in this way, it means I'm always using it with existing stitches on the needle, so I don't need to create a slip knot to get started. Let's now take a look at how that all works. I'm going to use this cast on with the wrong side of my work facing me, so your pattern might ask you to turn your work just before you start casting on. Here we go. I'll flip my work over, and now the wrong side is facing me. We do this because, like most other cast-ons, the Purl cable cast-on has a bumpy side and a smooth side. The bumpy side of the cast-on will be the side that faces you as you're working the cast-on, which means that if I make sure the wrong side of my work is towards me as I cast on, we can hide the bumpy side of the cast-on that side of the fabric too. If that's the desired finished look that we're going for, you could also use the bumpy side of the cast-on as a decorative effect on the right side of your work too if you want. So I know it's a bit hard to tell because this is all in garter stitch, but this is the wrong side of my work here. Now I'm ready to cast on some stitches. What we're going to do is take our right hand needle tip and insert it between the two stitches closest to the tip of our left hand needle as if to purl. So we're going to come from the back towards the front, inserting the right hand needle like so. So we're not going into the legs of either of these stitches like that, as if we were going to purl it. We need to make sure the needle is going between the stitches, just like that. We're then going to wrap our working yarn around the right hand needle tip as if we were working a purl stitch, and that's going to create a loop on our right hand needle. Next, we will draw this loop through to the back of our work, which is the right side of our work, this side here, and we have a newly created stitch on our right hand needle. We'll then place this stitch on the left hand needle without twisting it, and then we can pull our yarn to create a stitch with an even tension. And that's one stitch cast on. To cast on more stitches, we just repeat that process. Take our right hand needle tip and insert it purlwise between the two stitches closest to the left hand needle, and our newly created stitch is now the closest stitch to the tip of the left hand needle. Wrap our working yarn around the right hand needle as if to purl. Draw that loop through to the back of our work and then place that stitch on the left hand needle without twisting it and pull our yarn snug. To cast on more, keep repeating. Insert the right hand needle purlwise between those two stitches. Wrap the working yarn around the right hand needle as if to purl. Draw that loop through to the back of our work and then place that newly created stitch on the left hand needle. There we have a few new cast on stitches. I'm just going to do, let's say, 3 more. And we'll just speed up the process a little bit. So insert the right hand needle purlwise, wrap the yarn around as if to purl, draw the loop through to the back of your work and then place that stitch on the left hand needle, wrap the yarn around. And it might be a bit hard to see how I'm placing the stitch on the left hand needle because my working yarn is hiding that. So I'll just see if I can do that one more time a bit more clearly. So there's my stitch, just dropping the working yarn to the front of my work, and then we place the stitch on the left hand needle like that. Let's talk about a little bit of troubleshooting. What do we do if we forget how many stitches we've cast on and we want to count that cast on number, but because we have the existing stitches here, we can't see where our cast on stitches end and our existing stitches begin. What we do is locate the final column of stitches in our existing fabric. So if you can see, there's a stitch there, and we follow that column up to the live stitches on the needle, which is this stitch here. So we can see that this stitch is still this stitch, and that means that all the stitches to the right of this stitch are our newly cast on stitches. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches now cast on. I'm going to cast on just a few more, just as a demonstration. Maybe one more. But cast on the number that your pattern tells you to cast on. And then you can see that this cast on edge has the purl bumps essentially facing towards us, and the other side has the nice smooth side. So we'll say that our cast on is now complete. Your pattern might ask you to turn your work again so that the right side of the work is once again facing you, or you might be ready to work these stitches because you're now working a wrong side row, so you might be purling across these stitches or knitting them, just whatever your pattern says to do. I'm going to turn my work again so that the right side is facing me. And there we have the beautiful smooth side of the cast on facing us. And then we'll say that I'm joining together 2 pieces of knitting. So I actually have another piece of knitting here, and I'm going to place those stitches on the needle. And now we'll say that my pattern wants me to work across these stitches. So I'm just going to start knitting them like so. And then you can see how the cast on has helped us to bridge the gap between these 2 pieces of fabric. So that's why I said it's great, for instance, if these were body pieces of a sweater and your sleeve stitches were on hold here. So this would then become your underarm cast on edge of your sleeve. So that's how to work the Purl version of the cable cast on method. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and come and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you next time.